This has been driving me absolutely insane, and it's time that I finally said something about it. I've, you know, I just sort of I came to this realization one day a couple of months ago, and I just said, you know what, like every single thing that I see in my news feeds on like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all this stuff is completely filled with lies. And it first started with this biggest, this big, huge epidemic we have. Are you aware that 90% of the so-called UGC that you see online, these like testimonial type things that look like TikToks that everybody's clamoring over, are you aware that 90% of those are fake? It's not even influencer marketing. There are actually, and a lot of you know this in the marketing world, that there are actually companies that are out there making money to generate fake reviews. Essentially, they have all these people that want to make money, and then you have all of these companies that want user generated content because they think if there's TikTok testimonials in their feeds, well, then they'll be able to make more money because it'll seem like social proof. So they go to this big pool and they pay these companies to create user generated content from them. But it's not user generated content. These aren't users. And it's bullshit. And it's not fair. I mean, it really is unethical. It's not fair that there are so like most of this is in the B2C world, right? Do you think consumers have any idea? I mean, we in the business world and the marketing world know that when we see this stuff, oh yeah, they probably got that from this company or that company, or I can see how they generated this or that. Consumers have no idea that these are essentially fake reviews. And sure, you can make the argument, well, aren't they turned into a user if we send them our product or they try our service or whatever? No, they're getting paid and it's never disclosed. And we never say that it's a fake review. None of that. These aren't like commercials, you know, where it's very clear that you're watching a commercial. It is systemized hoodwinking across the board. And it makes me sick. It does. And it's so big that I don't know if I can do anything about it. I was talking to somebody the other day about how, I run a video ad agency, and we were saying, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with this user generated content stuff because I was part of the problem at one point. We were using our actors that were doing commercials and we were creating this stuff. And I didn't think about it at the time. And then one day I woke up and I was like, we are fucking up America. Like, what? I can't be part of this. Like, there are literally people that are going on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and they're scrolling and they're seeing something which works because it feels so organic and it's totally fake. So we don't do that anymore. I mean, we're not talking about commercials here. We're talking about fake reviews. 100% fake. And it has to stop. I mean, it's one thing to have hyperbole. And I'm not a huge fan of that either, but I understand. I used to work in online content journalism. That used to be what I did. And it's very difficult to understand the line between right and wrong when it comes to hyperbole, because obviously it's like if you can't make people click, then they'll never even consume. And if they don't consume, then there's like, it basically doesn't exist. If you write a blog that nobody reads, the blog doesn't exist. If you make a video nobody watches, the video doesn't exist. Right? So I understand the need to use language to market in a very specific way, as long as it's ethical and not directly telling a lie. But what I don't understand is why we need to actually lie and pretend that our products or services are better than they are just to get a click or a sale. And I understand sell them what they want and give them what they need, but it is unethical to parade out human beings saying that they love a product or service and they're more than willing to whip out their phone and make a video about it. And that's very different from a real customer coming out and doing it. It's very different from actually from just simply saying that this thing could potentially change your life. That might be seen as hyperbole, but it's marketing because it could change your life. If you say it will change your life, then it's a little bit different. You see the nuances that are there, but we're not lying necessarily. We may be leading people in a certain direction, and that's marketing, and you might argue that's manipulation. It is what it is. But it's a much more subtle, damaging form of manipulation to parade out fake reviews. If this was happening on Amazon, don't you think that the FTC would be all up about it? In fact, not to be some sort of narc, but if you go in the FTC laws, the rules, and you read them, you will see that essentially if you take the fake review epidemic we're seeing with video ads right now, and you compare that to the FTC laws, and you're like, hey, knowing what you know about how these were produced and reading the laws of the United States, is this legal? The answer is no. It is very illegal. Very illegal. You have people that are parading as actual customers. And there's companies that are making millions of dollars off of it, I guess. I don't know how much they're making. But if you all you need to do is go around ecom, Twitter, and like all these other places, and you will see that there are tons of companies that are trying to, hey, you want UGC? I can get UGC for you. And there's like, I talk to businesses every day who want ads, and they're all like, well, I heard that UGC was the big thing. Can you get me some UGC? And I'm like, so you want us to work with your customers to produce user-generated content? That I can do, I mean, we can help coach them, and we can, help get the actual real story and emotions out of them. No. We just want you to just get it for us. Just do it. I don't know. Just get people to do it. Oh, so not customers, right? It's an epidemic. And if you're watching this and you're not in business and marketing, you need to know this, because it's a fad and it's going to stop, because once enough consumers become aware of this, we're all already skeptical, but like, if you know what's going on behind the scenes, and it doesn't start there. I mean, it doesn't stop there. There's all sorts of other deceptive practices going on, which are more than manipulation, right? And I think that's the best way to say it. I mean, manipulation has a bad context, and I understand that. All marketing is some form of emotional manipulation in some way. It's very hard to get around that. So if we just say that we don't want to necessarily draw a line in the sand there, and we just want to say pretense, right? We're pretending to tell the truth. There's a lot of other stuff there as well. Offering products and services, for example. How many offers do you see in the B2B world of people offering services that they have no idea how to actually fulfill? It happens constantly. Case studies that are often fake, or they're at best, they are 20% real a lot of the time. And it's not 100% true across the board, but it forces you to do a ton of homework. But then, of course, the marketing funnel that accompanies all of that doesn't want you to do any of that. It's like, go into this very specific sequence of stuff to become a customer. I don't want you, don't be distracted by all the things that will help you make your buying decision. Don't look over there. Don't look at those things. Just look at what I want you to look at, so that you can do exactly what I want you to do. And whatever, like, some people would say, listen, that's marketing. Or, hey, if you don't want to do those things, you're never going to make money. Well, whatever, I mean, I personally think that if you have something amazing and you tell the truth, and you create content where you tell the truth, and you have a really good product, like a really good product, service, whatever, like you have, like it's rock solid. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's rock solid. You can succeed in business, and you don't need the manipulation. We all just get so desperate to generate money. We get so desperate. And then we have imposter syndrome because we see everybody else making so much money. And it's like Lance Armstrong and cycling all over again. You know, everybody else is doping. So of course Lance Armstrong dopes. And you know, he gets the most. I mean, ultimately he had to make a choice, I believe, personally, at some point, that he was either going to dope like everybody else he was racing against, or he was going to not be a professional cyclist and not compete at that level. That's a very difficult decision for somebody like him to make. And he just happened to be the most popular and came under the most scrutiny. But plenty of other cyclists have come out with this. And I've interviewed them when I used to run video at Bicycling Magazine. And I used to do all this journalism. Like, we've interviewed these people. We've talked to them. That's what they do. And the same thing happens in business and marketing. Everybody else is doing it. Well, what if intense hyperbole, marketing lies, what if all of those things are like doping? Like, what if that's the analogy? Would you feel comfortable doing that? And would you feel comfortable buying from businesses and companies that do that? I don't think that I would. But if you're a marketer, how many times have you helped people do that? How many ads do you see in your feeds that do that? I mean, it's against the law. Again, not to be a narc, but I just don't feel comfortable with it anymore. I just don't feel comfortable with it. And I think we got to do something about it. And I mean, we can do our little things, like I'm changing the way that I work and my company works. But how do we change this on a big scale? Like, how do we change the culture of online business? Everything just got too easy. Lies got too easy to tell. And listen, I know it's not all awful. There's a lot of good things that are happening out there as well. And I know there's a lot of great marketers that are doing ethical things all the time. I understand that. But every kid in a basement can create a business and put up a funnel. Russell Brunson keeps telling us we're one funnel away. And so everybody tries to be one funnel away. And then the lies start coming out because they have no actual acumen. They have no actual product. They have no testimonials. They have none of that. And I get that it's frustrating. I've been there. I've done that, all of that stuff. But it's not going to roll long term. And ultimately, it's incredibly brand damaging if you get found out. So is it worth it? Is it worth it to do any of that? I know some of you out there are doing good, and I appreciate that. I want to hear from you. And I'm doing my best as well. And hopefully every so often we can just come out here and we can tell the truth so that we can, make the world a better place to live.